So, in case you haven't heard, we are talking about the space station. The International Space Station is set to retire, then crash into the Pacific Ocean. Very Viking funeral for the International Space Station. But I also think it's very representative of what's going on in this country. Uh, Public, cooperative institutions crashing and burning while the funds that previously would have supported such endeavors get siphoned to private business. So, yeah, we're talking about the International Space Station going flying into the ocean in less than a decade. But what's happening here is interesting. We also have new film studio will be built in space by 2024. So we have the International Space Station getting destroyed, right? They're just going to give up on it, let it flounder, and stuff like film studios are replacing it. So we're moving into the era of complete commercialization of space and simultaneously the militarization of space, but that's a separate issue. Let's just stick on the topic of all these public funds now going to private funds. Let's see. Commercial space companies have received $7.2 billion in government investments since 2000. Early public money can provide a big boost for private space businesses. No shit. So what NASA has done through public funding for the past, 70 years or so is they have developed an abundance of technologies that initially allowed us to travel out of the atmosphere and then have trickled down into everyday life, right? And then standing on the shoulders of those achievements, we now have private companies trying to take over and move forward. Sounds good enough, right? Wrong. What's happening is we're divesting massive amounts of money away from public research and putting it into private corporations. So instead of having all this money go to NASA, and NASA is making these great achievements, and any technologies could then be trickled down and given to the rest of the world, the American public, at a way cheaper rate than if we allow a private corporation to develop those same technologies. Now people will say, well, capitalism, the corporation will be more innovative, they'll have motivations to spend less money and get a better product, right? They'll find ways to make things commercially viable. For instance, Elon Musk with rockets that can be reused. I counter that with there is absolutely no reason why the public can't develop those technologies themselves. We're wasting huge amounts of money by giving it to private industry because private industry's main goal is to make money and to provide value for shareholders. So if we're putting $1 billion towards space exploration, it's going to private companies. That's not $1 billion really going towards space exploration, is it? So we have what used to be NASA leading the way. Now we have companies like SpaceX, right? We have Elon Musk, SpaceX. We have Jeff Bezos with, Blue Origin, okay, right? We have these amazing, benevolent billionaires who just want to explore space. But let's say you're too poor. Let's say you're too poor to make it to Mars, right? Elon Musk wants to bring, 1 million people to Mars within the next 30 years. Not everyone's going to be able to afford a ticket to Mars, right? Well, don't worry. Elon's got you covered. This is a quote from an article in Business Insider. Unless you think a trip to Mars is too expensive for most people, Musk has said he intends for there to be, quote, loans available for those who don't have money, end quote, and jobs on the red planet for colonists to pay off their debts. Some critics say Musk's plan resemble an interplanetary form of indentured servitude. So this is just a perfect example of what's wrong with American society at this point. We're completely bought out by billionaires. They are fleecing this nation for every dollar they possibly can while enriching themselves and doing personal goals that will serve them and their rich friends. And Elon has the afterthought of, hey, we'll probably need some workers over there in Mars, and I ain't bringing them there for free. Definitely going to charge them for a ticket. And you know how they can pay off that ticket? They can work for me on Mars. And you know what's funny about Mars is there's no constitution there, huh? There's another major gray area of importance that no one's talking about as we switch and allow these private corporations to start taking to the stars. What the fuck are they going to be doing on planets where jurisdiction doesn't exist? We've all seen dystopian movies when corporations run the show. It's never a good thing. It's never a good thing. Imagine being stuck on Mars where you owe them, whatever $1 million for your ticket over there, whatever it's going to be, right? And just like student loans, you're trying to pay it back while working, but, I'm sure they're going to be charging you. Like, what money do you even have when you're there? If you're poor and you needed a ticket to get there, you don't have any money to buy anything when you get there, and everything's going to be extremely expensive. Food, water, the air you're breathing, that's all going to cost money because the planet's uninhabitable. All of that's going to be costing money. And I bet that the way you pay for that is, you just work a little longer. Just serve me a little longer. Your indentured servitude, another 5 years. You got to eat. You got to breathe. You got to pay for that. I find it extremely disturbing that we are moving towards the privatization of space, especially when it's being funded by the public. Absolutely insane. And we're handing the reins over to psychos like Elon Musk, who wants to have indentured servants on Mars, and Jeff Bezos, who already has indentured servants in America on the United States right now. Why as a society anyone trusts these billionaires is beyond me. I know why the government does. The government is giving them money because their wheels are getting greased. But for all you Musk fanboys out there who aren't worth $300 million plus, like, what the fuck are you thinking? He's not a genius. He's not a good guy. He's not a humanitarian. He's not for the species. He's for himself. Plain and simple. If you were for the species, you wouldn't accrue millions and billions of dollars. Simple as that.